What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1, and we are rolling along with our 2025 predictions. Texas A&M is up next. Let's look back at my predictions from the last few years, then I'll give you my thoughts on this team, and then we'll get into the predictions. So, as you can see, I have overrated this team the last 3 years. You go back to last year, 9-3, they went 8-4. I feel like that 9-3 though was a pretty good prediction. Very easily could have gone 9-3 if you kind of look at how the season went. You go to 2023, Adam at 9-3, they went to 7-5 that year, and then in 2022, I picked them to go 8-4, they went 5-7. So obviously, again, I have overrated this team the last 3 years, but I don't think that. Yes, I have done that, but I don't think that it necessarily translates to this year to this team because I have a new coach. This is not the Jimbo Fisher era. Mike Elko, I believe, has proven that. He can get the most out of his players. I know last year it was year one, but they had a lot of injuries. Didn't even know who the quarterback would be. They didn't settle on Marcel Reed till later in the year. So I think that everything could come together for them this year to be to really have a great season. I think again, you cannot judge this team. I know everyone calls this team Texas 8-4, but this is a team that I think it could be different with Mike Elko. Now, I could be wrong. This could be the same old Texas A&M we always get, but I just believe that this team is going to potentially surprise some people this year. And I have no rooting interest for Texas A&M. I don't care for Texas A&M one way or the other. So it's nothing to do with that. It's mostly just the fact that it's been a very talented team, and they just have not lived up to those expectations. We'll see if they're able to this year. It's a top 10 team, in my opinion, in terms of talent this year. As you see the schedule, before we go into the games, just my thoughts on this Texas A&M team. You go to I would say the biggest question mark is the passing game with Marcel Reed. A great runner, electrifying athlete. We know what he can do there, but throwing the football, maybe not going to be among the top passers in the SEC. And the wide receiver position, it's not bad. They did add Casey Concepcion from NC State, who's a great player, but I don't know that they have, a bunch of guys that you can just throw the ball up to and they can win one-on-one battles. Like, it's going to be, they're going to have to be efficient in the passing game, but Marcel Reed's legs will help that. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the question mark. That's what we're going to be looking at with Texas A&M, because if you look at the run game, first of all, this is going to be one of the top offensive lines, I think, maybe in the country. I think this is definitely a top 10 offensive line. They're going to be very good up front. And I would say if we're going 3 or 4 deep, this is the best running back room in all of college football. Now, I don't think they have the best 1-2 punch. That probably goes to, I would say, Penn State. But when you look at like 4 deep, they've got Le'Veon Moss. They've got Amari Daniels. They've got Reuben Owens. They've even got E.J. Smith, who's a pretty solid player back there as well. This is a deep running back room. And with a great offensive line, this team should be able to run the football, no doubt about that. And then you look at the defense. Really, they're loaded there, especially up front. Defensive line, one of the best in the country. And even linebackers, secondary, very good there as well. So this is a really good, really talented team. Can they get the most out of it with a tough schedule? We'll see. I think they start off with a couple of easy wins, UTSA and Utah State. Then you got this game against Notre Dame. If you watched the Notre Dame video, you already saw my prediction here. But, road game, obviously a tough environment. You're talking about a young quarterback for Notre Dame playing in a big game. How will he fare in this one? I think, they play Miami first, so it's not going to be his first big game. But still, I think the passing games for both teams could be a little bit limited in this game, mostly just because these are great defenses. I mean, we're talking top 10 defenses in my opinion. You look at Notre Dame, but really across the board, these teams are very similar. I think the strengths of both defenses on the defensive line. I think the rest of the defense is very good as well. I think they both are good up front on the offensive line. Maybe a slight advantage for Texas A&M this year. Both are very good in the running back room. It's a really even matchup here. I think Notre Dame has the better wide receivers. So, maybe if it comes down to wide receivers making a play, maybe Notre Dame wins this game. But I think Marcel Reed's experience and his legs will be the difference. In a game where you won't have a lot of offense, one big run by the quarterback, something like that, could be the difference. Perhaps turnovers with a young quarterback for Notre Dame. Maybe C.J. Carr throws an interception or two. I'm going Aggies. I think they get this win on the road, gets them to 3-0. But definitely that's one that could go either way. I don't feel confident in that prediction. I do feel confident in this September 27th game. It's at home. A&M's the better team. It's a revenge game. Their defense, I think, will be very motivated in this one after that game last year. A lot of times we see this. Teams revenge games playing at home, defense just play above what they normally do. I mean, they are going to be ready for this one. I think their run game will be enough for them on offense. I don't think they'll have to throw it too much against a pretty good Auburn secondary. So I think A&M wins this game. Feel confident in this one. Not a blowout, but I don't think it's one that's going to come down in the fourth quarter either. Mississippi State next on October 4th. Could be a bit of a tricky game. I think Mississippi State is, and I've said this, I believe they're going to be better this year, much more competitive. Could be close for a while, but Texas A&M should wear them down with their depth. I think they win. They pull away in the second half. Then you got this game against Florida, October 11th. This is really a toss-up for me. This is one that I've had some struggles with. When you look at these teams, both have great offensive lines. I think these two teams, along with maybe Alabama, could potentially be the best offensive lines in the SEC and top 10 offensive lines in the country. So you're both teams are going to have great run games, great offensive lines. You look at the two defenses; they're going to be solid there as well. But I do think Texas A&M's run defense a little bit better than Florida's. Maybe that's the difference in this game. Then obviously home field advantage. So I think it's close, but A&M wins, and this is probably going to be a one-score game. Should be a good one. So I think Notre Dame and Florida both should be really good games. But I think A&M finds a way to get them both. So then you got Arkansas next on the road, October 18th. This should be another pretty good game. Arkansas is one of those teams where I don't think they're going to be great anywhere, but they're not going to be bad anywhere. I think they'll just be a solid team across the board. I do think A&M does have a pretty big advantage up front, offensive line, defensive line. That's where they will have an advantage in this game. I think being on the road, it will be close, but I think Texas A&M once again finds a way to get a win. So I got them getting to 7-0. Then they've got LSU next on October 25th. On the road, Death Valley, obviously a tough place to play. This is going to be this will be a tough one. This will be a tough one for sure. This is possibly the best offense that Texas A&M will face all year, and I think this LSU offense has the type of versatility, has the playmakers where they can score even against a great defense like Texas A&M. So you put all that together, an explosive offense for LSU, playing at home, revenge game for them. I think LSU gets this win. So A&M loses their first game of the season to LSU, and that could be a huge game going in. Perhaps both teams going in with just undefeated or with one loss. So that'll be a big game. Then you got a bye week before playing Missouri. Really good time for this bye week, because if you had Missouri on the road after LSU on the road, I think that would be very, very tough for A&M. But they do get a bye week to recover. Again, very good spot for this bye week. You got a Missouri team that's going to be pretty good. I think they'll be. I don't think they'll be one of the worst teams in the SEC. But I think they're kind of in the middle of the pack in the SEC. It's a revenge game for them. So this is definitely an upset alert type game. But again, I think having that bye week to get prepared, to get focused, coming off of a loss, the focus should really be strong. And again, I do believe Mike Elko is a great coach. Just looking, going back to what he did at Duke, he got more out of those players than what their talent would suggest they would get. And I think if he can do that at Texas A&M, that's why I really believe A&M could have a special season. So I think they bounce back. They get this win over Missouri. Then they've got a revenge game of their own here against South Carolina after that game last year, which was, they just got, that was a horrible performance by Texas A&M. So yeah, you look at this one at home this time, revenge game. You like Texas A&M here. I think that South Carolina is going to be a little bit one-dimensional here. Really, both teams are going to want to run the football, I'm sure. Both teams have athletic quarterbacks, so I think it'll be close. I think this will be a competitive game, but A&M at home, revenge game. It's hard to pick against them here. I got to go with the Aggies, so that gets them to 10-1. Then they close things out with Texas on the road Friday after Thanksgiving. Rivalry game. Last year was a low-scoring game. This year, I think, probably a similar type game. Maybe not quite as low-scoring. But yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think that when you look at these two teams, both very good. I think Texas a little bit better than Texas A&M. Not by a lot, but I do think they are the more talented team. Plus, they're playing at home, so it's it really doesn't make any sense to pick Texas A&M in this game. I think that it's again, you look at these matchups. Both teams are going to have really good offensive and defensive lines. Both teams are going to have really good defenses. I think Texas maybe an advantage with the playmakers at wide receiver and tight end. And then you got Arch Manning, who I believe will be a better passer than Marcel Reed. So a lot of things going in the favor of Texas here. I'm going to pick them, but I think that it will be close. I do not expect a blowout. I think A&M will come they'll fight, but it won't be enough. Texas gets this win, but that still gets Texas A&M to 10-2. So maybe I'm overrating this team again. I was looking at that first graphic and how I had picked overrated Texas A&M the last 3 years, and I thought, maybe I'm off here. Maybe I need to drop them to like 8-4, 9-3. But when I just really look at these games, I think Texas A&M can get to 10-2. And like I said earlier, the difference is this is a different coach. Mike Elko's a different coach. I believe I've seen enough to believe that he can get it done here at Texas A&M. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they will go 8-4 again. But that's my prediction. If they let me down again, and when I say let me down again, I have no rooting interest, but just based off my prediction, if they go like 8-4 again, I think I'm going to be done picking them. I'm going to probably add in a couple losses next year just to account for the fact that I've been overrating this team for whatever reason. So 10-2, my prediction. Love to get your thoughts, your predictions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below.